Closing arguments just wrapped up in the road rage murder trial of Ronald Gasser. The jury will be getting the case soon. Our Danny Monteverde has been in the courtroom all morning long and joins us live from the Jefferson Parish Courthouse in Gretna. And what are the jurors here today, and what was the mood like during those closing arguments today, Danny?
Sure. Well, it's a packed courtroom up there in the courthouse behind me right now. Not a seat to be had. What the jurors heard was basically prosecutors and defense making their cases one final time. They said on December 1st, 2016, that was a day of challenges versus choices. The prosecution said Ronald Gasser challenged Joe McKnight. Prosecutor Seth Shute said Joe McKnight, quote, threw the gauntlet down. Shute continued that Ronald Gasser apparently thought, I'm not going to let it go, and followed Joe McKnight off of an exit he said he wasn't planning to take. Now, on the flip side, the defense said that Joe McKnight chose to drive like a, quote, maniac and chose to chase Ronald Gasser. Now, the question here has always been whether this was an act of self-defense on the part of Ronald Gasser or if he overreacted to a road rage incident. And when the jury does get this case, presumably in the next little bit, they're going to have some tough choices to make, when they begin to deliberate. Now, they can choose to convict Ronald Gasser on the count of second-degree murder. They can choose to acquit him on the count of a second-degree murder. They also have a choice of whether or not they want to convict him on lesser charges of manslaughter or negligent homicide. That jury is made up of 6 white females, 4 white men, 1 Hispanic female, and 1 black female. And again, we do expect this jury to get this case sometime in the next little bit. It's for the other charges that I just discussed a minute ago. We've got a full story on our website, wwltv.com, that kind of breaks down what each charge is, what the jury's going to have to consider with all of that. But throughout the day, again, we'll just have to see what happens, and we'll be here to give you the latest as it does develop. But for now, reporting live at the Jefferson Parish Courthouse in Gretna, Danny Monteverde, Eyewitness News. Eric?
And Danny, how intense were these closing arguments? Because this is actually a fairly complicated case.
You're right, it is a complicated case. And in fact, the prosecutor said there aren't a lot of facts in dispute here, but it's that question of the self-defense versus sort of overreaction. You basically have to try to figure out what was going through someone's mind at that point. The closing arguments themselves, they went fairly short. Seth Shute, one of the prosecutors, he took about 15 minutes, kind of a calm, steady delivery. No real fiery rhetoric like you hear in some murder cases. Defense attorney Matt Getz, the same sort of thing. Took just shy of 15 minutes. Again, very calm, very deliberative. And finally, state prosecutor Shannon Swain for the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office, again, didn't take all that long. A little firmer in what she was saying and in a little of how she was describing this case. But again, not fiery rhetoric. I think back to the trial of Cardell Hayes. That was one where you had prosecutors raising voices, defense attorneys raising voices, getting very heated, but this was an opposite, just very much, here are the facts as we know them, here's what you need to consider, and that's what we're looking at right here.
All right, Danny, we'll just wait and see what the jury has to say. Thank you very much.